How to maintain a state when manifesting. Hello beautiful soul, welcome back to my channel. This is Priya, your manifestation coach, and in this video I'm going to be sharing how to maintain a state, specifically how I live in the wish fulfilled when I'm manifesting what I want. But first, if you would like to get one-on-one coaching with me to help you manifest anything you desire, you can sign up for coaching below. I also offer online courses that are very accessible that you can get instant access to by also clicking the link below in the description box. Okay, let's get back to this video. How to maintain a state when you are manifesting. So first, let's define what is a state. A state is simply who are you conscious of being in this moment? Who are you conscious of being? And the stories that you're telling, the thoughts that you're thinking, or your beliefs is simply who you are conscious of being in this moment. Now, what this means is that you are always shifting states because the thoughts that you are thinking is always changing. The stories that you're telling is always changing, and your beliefs are also always changing. So you are constantly shifting states through the thoughts that you are thinking. Now let's talk a little bit about affirmations. Every time you are affirming, you are simply thinking a thought, right? Every time you think a thought, you're affirming. And we are thinking at least 70,000 thoughts on average per day, which means that you are affirming at least 70,000 times a day. So the question then becomes, well, what is it that you are affirming? So a state is always who are you conscious of being? And this is really defined by the thoughts that you are thinking. So then let's talk about how do you actually maintain a state? Well, to maintain the state of the wish fulfilled, it's simply about thinking from the end, thinking as if you are the person that already has your manifestation. And you do this through affirmations, because remember, the thought that you think are simply affirmations. So let's take an example here. Let's say that you're manifesting your specific person, and your new affirmation is, my specific person loves me and we're in a happy relationship. And you're affirming this, meaning, every time your SP comes to mind, the only thoughts that you're thinking is, my SP loves me and me and my SP are in a happy, committed relationship. And those are the only thoughts that you are thinking when it comes to your specific person. Well, when you are doing this, you are living in the wish fulfilled, because you are thinking as if you are the version of you that already has your SP. This is you living from the end. This is you living in the wish fulfilled, because this is who you are conscious of being in that moment. The story that you're telling in that moment through your affirmation is, my SP loves me. We're in a happy, committed relationship. So every time you are thinking from the end through your affirmations, you are living in the wish fulfilled. Now let's talk about how to maintain the state. So a lot of people think that, you need to be 24/7 thinking, oh, my SP loves me and me and my SP are in a happy, committed relationship. Let's take that as an example again, that you want to manifest your SP. But the truth of the matter is, you don't have to be there 24/7. It just needs to be your predominant story, because your subconscious mind will always produce proof of the dominant story you are telling it. Think of your subconscious mind as a 3D printer that literally will print whatever it is your dominant story is. It has to produce proof of that. So it's not about staying in the wish fulfilled 24/7. It's actually about being predominantly there. Now, how is it that you can be predominantly there? Well, there are a number of ways to do this. So number one is you can actively take time out to do your affirmations, meaning you can set aside time, like 10-minute sessions, to actually affirm, my SP loves me, me and my SP are in a happy, committed relationship. It could also be that you're somebody who affirms during the day, maybe when you're driving or when you're going for a walk, you're affirming. And all that is great. But I'm going to share with you something that's actually a game changer. And it's this. The state you return to the most becomes your dominant state. What this means is the thought you return to the most becomes your dominant thought pattern. So what this means is, every time you deviate from living in the end, because maybe you're affirming against what you want. So for example, again, let's take the SP. That you want to manifest your SP. Maybe you're thinking, my SP doesn't love me and my SP doesn't want to be with me. So every time you notice this thought or this story that you're telling that goes against what you want, your job is to simply revert back to the new story. right? Replace it with a new story. My SP loves me. My SP is madly and deeply in love with me. We're in a happy, committed relationship. And you repeat this over and over and over again so that it replaces the old story. Now, why is this important? Well, again, it comes back to the state you return to the most, meaning the thought patterns that you return to the most becomes your dominant state. So it doesn't actually matter that you're deviating. The only thing that matters is that you keep bringing it back to the new story. And if you have to do this 1,000 times in a day, then so be it. 1,000 times, your mind will deviate, but you will bring it back to the new story. And as long as you keep bringing it back to the new story, this will become your dominant thought. And remember, your subconscious mind always has to produce proof of your dominant thought patterns. And so this is how you can live in the wish fulfilled. Outside of the times when you're actually consciously affirming and taking time out to consciously affirm, the way that I like to think about it is, well, the state that I return to the most becomes my dominant state. So that means every time I catch myself deviating from thinking, in the end, from thinking as if I'm the person that already has my manifestation, every time I catch myself thinking opposing thoughts, the only thing that matters in that moment is not that I'm thinking an opposing thought, it's that what am I doing about it? Am I changing that thought? Am I replacing it with the new affirmation and the new story? That's the only thing that matters. This was really a game changer for me because then I stopped stressing and worrying about, I'm thinking opposing thoughts. It didn't matter that I was thinking opposing thoughts. And at the beginning, when you're first manifesting what you want, you will be thinking opposing thoughts because your old assumption is what's dominant within you. But as you keep bringing it back to the new story over and over and over again, your subconscious mind will finally accept it as your truth. And so this is really about training your subconscious mind to accept this new story. And the way that you do that is you keep bringing your mind back to the new story every time you catch yourself affirming against. And again, this will be normal at the beginning because your old assumption is what's dominant. And so the key is to keep persisting in the new story. And this is where people sort of trip up because they're like, oh, I have so many opposing thoughts, but they're never doing anything to change it. Well, once you have your affirmations, all you have to do is just keep replacing those opposing thoughts with your new affirmations. And as you keep doing this repeatedly, your subconscious mind will accept it as truth. It will become your dominant story, and then your subconscious mind will produce proof of the dominant story that you are telling. So let's recap. How do you maintain a state when manifesting? How do you continually live in the wish fulfilled? Well, that's about remembering this phrase, the state that you return to the most, the thought patterns that you return to the most becomes your dominant state. And your subconscious mind is always going to produce proof of the dominant state, of the dominant story that you are telling. Which means on a practical day-to-day level, every time you catch yourself affirming against what you want, every time you catch yourself telling that negative story, your job is to replace it with the new affirmation and the new story. And the more you do this, the more you stay on it and you keep replacing the old story with the new story, your subconscious mind will eventually accept it. So the more you tell that new story, the more you persist in that new story is what is going to become dominant within you. It will replace the old stories and the old assumptions. And when this occurs, your subconscious mind will produce proof of the new dominant story that you are telling. So the key to maintaining a state is really about you consciously deciding and choosing to come back to living in the end through your affirmations and through the story that you are telling. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful evening. Mwah.